Being a talented photographer and running a profitable photography business are two completely different skills. The photographers obsessing over every little nuance of a great image are often making the least income. Their work is beautiful, but the more time they pour into perfecting it, the less time they spend on what actually pays them. Photographers I've worked with have collectively sold over $33 million in artwork in the last 6 years by putting that energy into the right systems to serve fewer, better clients. That's the boutique portrait model, and it's what separates profitable from talented and broke photographers. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Sarah Petty, founder of the Photography Business Institute. I've run my own boutique portrait studio for 28 years, sold over $3 million in portraits myself, and helped over 33,000 photographers build profitable family-first businesses. So if you're a great photographer who is still not making the money that you should be, that's exactly what this video is about. Because staying broke has almost nothing to do with how good your images are. It comes down to 7 reasons, and today I'm going to walk you through all of them, starting with the one that's costing you the most. Reason number 1, they're improving the wrong thing. There are really just a few photography skills you need to have to build a profitable photography business. Simple, flattering lighting on your subject's face. Posing that makes people feel and look great. Clean exposure. That's your foundation. Once you have that, the thing that actually moves your income is your products, your client experience, and your system. A sharper lens won't move it. Neither will another workshop on creative lighting. I always say it this way. Photographers that are focusing only on their photography are going down the wrong road as fast as they can. In my community, we refer to a client who invests $1,000 or more on printed artwork. So that's wall art, a book, or an album using our boutique process. We call that person a Julie. That's because my first right fit client named Julie came in and she invested $1,800. After she left that day, I did the math. That one order replaced 24 clients at $75 each. That's the day I stopped obsessing over my gear and I started obsessing over my numbers. I started tracking every product. I tracked what sold, what didn't sell, and I started saying no to anyone who wasn't a right fit client who wanted artwork on their walls. Then, because I kept finding ways to tighten my process to serve my right fit clients better, my average order just steadily kept climbing and it never stopped. And once I started chasing the numbers instead of the craft, I realized something even more uncomfortable. The people I'd been paying to learn from had the same problem I did. So reason number 2, a lot of photographers are learning from the wrong people. I paid $3,000 to study with a celebrated photographer. His work was stunning. He was on all the national stages. Everyone in the industry admired him. Partway through the first day, I said, okay, let's talk about the making money part. And he goes, oh, I don't make any money. Almost like that was assumed. And he shared that he had a second job to pay his rent for his studio. I felt like I'd been stabbed in the heart. So by the time I was driving home, something had already shifted in me. I realized in that conversation with myself that the most talented photographer in the room wasn't the one making money. So I stopped looking for photography mentors and I went looking for profit mentors. I joined a program that doesn't exist anymore, but it was through the Professional Photographers of America, where they were coaching photographers on their actual numbers. It was called Studio Management Services. And I started making changes. And within a few years, I made their list of most profitable photographers in the United States. Then they hired me as a consultant to help other photographers, and that's where I saw the problem up close. I got hired to help someone, and they were canceling on me at the last minute because they hadn't closed their books at the end of the month, meaning they didn't know their numbers. So I couldn't meet with them and I couldn't help them. And that was happening over and over and over again. And eventually that whole division shut down. And what I realized was there was nobody out there running a profitable business who had systematized teaching photographers the business side. There was a giant hole in the market, and all these talented photographers were falling into that hole. You know, the ones who had been told their whole life that become a great photographer and you'll make money. So before you hand over money to learn from someone, the question isn't whether they're talented as a photographer. Study photography from those people, that's fine. But if you want to learn business, the question is, are you running a profitable photography business? A beautiful portfolio tells you they can take a picture, but it tells you nothing about whether they can run a business. And I'm not saying don't work on your photography. I'm just saying work on your business at least as much, if not more, than your photography skills, because you can't have one without the other. Reason number 3, they think being a great photographer automatically makes them a great business person. It doesn't. The industry sells this idea constantly. Again, get better at photography and the money follows, but there are all these things that happen in between getting a client and having them give you money. And it's not just becoming a better photographer that makes that happen. Here's what keeps getting sold to you. The people believing these things don't know better because they're not profitable themselves. And underneath this lack of a system, I think is a guilt play. Like, how dare you focus on making money when you could be making more beautiful art? So the photographer feels selfish for even thinking about creating systems for their client. So they just go back to the photography again. It's a vicious cycle, and it keeps a lot of talented people broke. The photographers making 6 figures have a different skill stack entirely. They can put themselves out there. They learn to sell in a way that feels like serving, not pushing, which, by the way, is not overshooting or putting a bunch of great images in an online gallery. Successful photographers have a system so that every single client helps with the entire process, and that includes helping them make their purchasing decision. This next one matters more than people realize. So many of my students tell me that they have inconsistent orders. And I always say that's why a system matters even more for you. A system carries you on the days when your brain doesn't want to cooperate. It does the remembering so you don't have to. Your camera skills got you in the door. Your business skills are what pay you. Reason number 4, a lot of photographers are too insecure to charge what they need to charge. Listen, I get it. I don't have a degree in photography, and there are 0 requirements to call yourself a professional photographer. So if someone hands you $1, you're literally a pro. So photographers look around, they look at the competition, and they think, well, why would anyone pick me? And that thought alone keeps their prices on the floor. Getting better at photography doesn't fix it because it was never a photography problem. It was a belief problem. And the belief problem shows up most painfully when the bills are due. I know this one intimately because I remember this day vividly. I was sitting at my desk in my very small studio. It had bars on the windows, and I was paying bills. And my next client had a sick child, called to reschedule. So the sun was shining, and I finished paying bills, and I was driving home feeling so proud of myself. And then it hit me. I had just paid every single bill. So yay me, I'm a really great business owner. But there was $14 left for me. $14. I had just walked away from a super well-paying ad agency job with a real salary and benefits, and I was working harder than I ever had for $14. That was the moment I got serious about making different decisions. I was not going to spend years going as fast as I could down the wrong road. By the way, if this is landing for you, subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. It's a 5-minute read with practical, simple ideas to grow your portrait photography business and feel good about yourself and put your family first. I will stick the link in the description for you. And reason number 5, I see photographers benchmarking against the wrong people, and it quietly sets a ceiling on what they'll ever charge. Here's what I want you to get, and here's how it happens. Photographers spending all of her time around a group of people in her inner circle. Maybe they're people who never left that small town, and they're talking about people. They're working long hours in mindless jobs, and they can't wait for the weekend. And they maybe have no ambition for personal development or growth. They just want to get to retirement or get to Friday night. And nobody in that inner circle is investing in themselves or a business because they either don't want a business or they do secretly, but they're afraid to start their own. And likely, because this was my story, nobody in your inner circle would pay for a professional photographer to create heirloom art. So that becomes normal. When everyone around you thinks $200 is a lot to spend on portraits, you're never gonna feel okay asking for products that add up to be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And I really want you to hear this. You don't rise above the room you're standing in. You sink to it and you pick up a lot of head trash along the way. We always say proximity is power, and most photographers have it working against them without even realizing it. We become like the people we spend the most time with, and it's the same reason we want our kids in activities around other kids who are doing things, not hanging around with a bunch of free time smoking pot behind the PE building. You know what I'm talking about. The crowd you hang out with sets your ceiling. Now picture the opposite. Picture a photographer who is surrounded by people who are investing in themselves to learn how to grow a profitable photography business, talking about promotions and campaigns and the impact they're having in their community. Same talent, completely different trajectory. One of those photographers thrives, the other stays stuck and blames the economy. The fix starts with who you're talking to about your business. Stop talking to that group of your homies and find a room full of photographers who are growing, investing, and charging real prices. Being in that room alone will raise your ceiling in a way you can't even believe. Reason number 6, they say yes to free work because they think it'll lead to paid work. It almost never does. When I had just gotten started and I was really honing in on my niche and I really loved photographing kids and I felt like that's where I wanted to be. And then someone well-connected in my city begged me to photograph the governor at a private party. And I said, no, that's not my thing. And she kept pushing and she promised I'd meet all the right people. All your clients will be there and you'll get all these new clients. And so finally I caved, especially because it was a Saturday night and I thought, oh, I don't have to get a babysitter because of course my husband was home to be with our babies. So I packed up my gear and I went over and my cute little babies, I had twins, they were like 6 months old and they were all wrapped up in a blanket. And my husband had a fire going. It was like a fall day. And I went and smooched them all goodbye. And I drove out of my driveway thinking, oh, I just left the most Norman Rockwell little setting in my house, but it's okay because I'm going to go grow my business because that's what we do. So I get to the governor's house. It was dark, low ceilings, and this was back in the days of film. So there was no way for me to see what I was getting until that roll came back from the lab. I had one little on-camera flash, but I wasn't a wedding photographer. I don't even know that I knew how to use it. And to make matters worse, the governor didn't even want to be there and had all these people grabbing me saying, help me get a picture with the governor. And I'm weaving through the crowd like grip and grin, lining people up and their bodies flying in front of the camera. I didn't know a single person. They were all politically minded state workers, not my client. I did not get one client from the night. And because I didn't have the right equipment from that space, between when I left that night and I picked them up at the lab on Monday afternoon, I just was so stressed out of like, what if these aren't good? What if these aren't good? They have to be terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. That was terrible. Well, guess what? They were good enough, but I was embarrassed of them that my name was attached to them. And I was so grateful that none of those people were my clients. So it was like, okay, lesson learned. Take these mediocre photos and I'm never going to say yes to this again. And to this day, I can't erase the feeling of missing out on that family time of my family all snuggled up by the fire. And I missed that night and I can't go back and ever get it again. And so I said to myself right then, I'm not going to work for exposure ever again. So if someone offers you exposure in exchange for free or even paid work, I was actually paid for that. I don't know what, $200 maybe. I always tell photographers, exposure alone isn't going to help you. If you want exposure, go strip naked in the winter and walk down your street. You'll get plenty of exposure and the pain will end much more quickly than working an event all day long for free. And reason number 7, and this is the one quietly doing the most damage, they wait to feel ready before they make a move. Photographers, I hear them telling themselves, when I'm better, when I have more skills, when I have more time, when I have more contacts, more confidence. I call this the when then trap. That feeling of readiness doesn't show up one day so that then you can do your thing. You get the thing when you do the thing, okay? And you do that by deciding you're ready. That's how it works. Listen, this fix was never a better lens. It's getting as serious about your business as you already are about your photography. If this makes sense to you and you're like, what if I could make that shift? Book a call with my team and have a free conversation. They will look at where you are, where you want to go, and if there's a way we can help you in between, they'll share what that is. The link is in the description, and my friend, you are so much closer than you know.